morning, everyone. As moderator and head of this delegation, I welcome you all to this parallel event, Mountain Women Empowerment through the Inclusive Student Engaged Learning Model, hosted by students from Utah Valley University and members of the Utah International Mountain Forum, UIMF. UIMF was created as a coalition of student clubs at UVU in 2011 to advocate for the cause of sustainable mountain development in the state of Utah and globally. Many of its members, like myself, have affiliated themselves with UIMF because of previous experiences with mountain communities. During 2 years of religious service in Colombia, including Bogota, Bucaramanga, and Cucuta, I have witnessed the striking contrast in economic development and overall prosperity between urban and mountainous populations. Therefore, when I joined UIMF, it allowed me to learn and advocate for the SMD agenda by hosting International Mountain Day observations, fundraisings, and service projects benefiting local communities in Utah County, to name a few. SMD advocacy also encourages students to study how our mountainous state became now one of the best in the nation economically. However, in 1847, it was a place for a couple of thousand first pioneers to take a refuge from religious persecution. They had little provisions, were under continued threat of violence, and forced to survive in the driest and inhospitable region in the western United States. And many of them were women who contributed to building today's heaven on earth, not only through their hard labor, but also love and care for their families and children. Therefore, since 2007, our university regularly hosts International Women of the Mountain Conferences, WOMC, under the umbrella of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, to raise awareness about challenges experienced by mountain women and families globally and the role of women in creating the Utah model of sustainable development. In 2015, the fourth WOMC was hosted by UIMF members via the Student Engaged Learning Model. SEL encourages students to work as a group on certain practical issues and learn professional skills, while university faculty mentor them in that endeavor. Since 2017, UIMF advocates for SMD at every session of the Commission on the Status of Women. It will be a special privilege for me to further introduce 10 UIMF members who will demonstrate how SEL allows them to host both this event and 3 VIP guests. They will also share their own stories about their contribution to mountain women advocacy. I hope that our event would allow you to understand why UIMF was highlighted for mountain women advocacy by the United Nations Secretary General's report on SMD in 2016 and 2019, the only student group globally, and how, through SEL, became a full-fledged contributor to the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, with a special focus on mountain communities, families, and women. Now, before inviting to the podium our first speaker, I would like to ask to post any questions to the presenters in the chat, and we will proceed with them after the presentations. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Baldomero Lago, who is the Chief International Officer at UVU, to provide us with the first statement.
Good morning. I'm honored to speak today during the parallel event as part of the 65th session of the Commission of the Status of Women. As a tradition, the UVU Office for Global Engagement collaborates with the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, led by my personal friend and predecessor, Dr. Rusty Butler. We are joined also by Mr. Clark Merkley, who represents the Orem Rotary Club. It is another effort from our joint delegation to raise our voices in support of the women and girls from mountain regions around the world. While they are still affected by such challenges as food insecurity and now migration, they're also threatened now by climate change. This is the third session of the Commission on the Status of Women, in which the Utah Valley University delegation advocates for mountain families and women by hosting either a side or a parallel event, in addition to submitting a statement together with two non-governmental organizations, the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences and the Utah-China Friendship Improvement Sharing Hands Developing and Cooperation, in support of the United Nations Economic and Social Council. And it is important to state that our team is led by students, members of the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at Utah Valley University. Our office is proud to contribute to the student exchange learning model, which distinguished Utah Valley University together with its dual mission. As you can see from this event, students, including non-traditional learners, are able to host this event as a group effort, allowing them both to advocate for the mountain women cause and at the same time to learn many new skills necessary for professional development. Their teacher and mentor, Dr. Abdrisayev, served as mentor. The developed model encourages students to handle everything for this visit, starting from raising funds to logistics, protocol, and putting together an agenda, just to name a few. They have invited us to contribute to their presentations. This is the essence of the extracurricular SEL model developed at Utah Valley University. On August 26th through 28th of 2019, Utah Valley University co-hosted with Salt Lake City the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference. This conference became a historic event as it was the first time the UN conference was held in the USA outside its New York headquarters, where more than 200 NGOs represented by 134 countries attended the event. During this event, the UIMF worked closely with the UVU's Office for Global Engagement. It was remarkable to see that Utah Valley University students were able to include language urging mountain communities to be in the focus of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in the preamble of the outcome document of the 68th United Nations CSC, Civil Society Conference. We wish similar success to our students at the Commission Status Women 65 with their noble goal of advocating for mountain families, women, and girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lago, could you please tell us what are your office plans for the future based on what you have already been able to do with the students in promoting the Sustainable Development Goals and the Sustainable Mountain Development Agenda?
We certainly will continue to support all efforts provided by the students under the understanding of engaged learning. I believe that the model that is already established and led by your mentor, Dr. Abdrisayev, is outstanding, is remarkable, and it continues to move forward. In addition to that, just for your information, we are currently working on establishing the first worldwide academic conference on sustainability. It will take place in October 2022, where many nations around the world are currently represented, and the executive board represents all continents throughout the world. We are excited about this large event where we'll oversee all sustainability, the 17 SDGs, and it will be just in our own university, right on campus at Utah Valley University, with this large event will take place.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. I would like now to invite our next speaker to the podium, Dr. Rusty Butler. Dr. Butler is the main UN representative for the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences. Dr. Butler? You're on mute, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dallas, and thank you for your gracious comments, Dr. Lago. Dr. Lago is a very capable leader and has done remarkable things in promoting the agendas, the Sustainable Mountain or Development agendas, and the 17 goals of the United Nations. I'm grateful for his leadership. It's my pleasure and it's an honor to greet the delegation from Utah Valley University and the Orem Rotary at this parallel event on behalf of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, which is one of 5,000 non-governmental organizations, NGOs, in active consultative status with ECOSOC. The Academy has the highest standing as general consultative status with ECOSOC. Since 2016, the Academy and UVU have jointly promoted 3 mountain targets adopted for implementation of the Sustainable Mountain Development Agenda within the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, which we refer to as SDGs. Since then, we also support efforts of members of the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at UVU which advocate for mountain women and families during sessions of the Commission on the Status of Women and other fora of the United Nations and ECOSOC. Through an inclusive student-engaged learning, referred to as SEL, model students, especially the non-traditional learners, gain professional skills by addressing real-world problems of mountain communities as a group, with faculty members serving as their mentors. UIMF members, as Russian Academy representatives, reported UVU's contribution in support of mountain women and girls by co-hosting with the Academy a parallel event during the 62nd and 63rd sessions of the UN Commission on the Status of Women in March of 2018 and 2019. Written statements of the Academy highlighting the UVU SEL model and the state of Utah as a model sustainable development have been distributed as official UN documents during these gender fora. During the 2018 high-level political forum of ECOSOC on sustainable development, the Academy was selected as one of only 7 NGOs with consultative status worldwide to speak during the general debates. This allowed 3 UVU students for the first time to make oral statements about challenging experiences by mountain communities during the ministerial forum on July the 19th, 2018. During the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference held in Salt Lake City in August of 2019, UIMF and the Academy were able for the first time to have mountain communities highlighted in the final outcome document of that forum. The triennial United Nations Secretary General's report on sustainable mountain development from July the 22nd, 2019, highlighted for the first time advocacy efforts of UIMF and the Academy during the 62nd session of the Commission on the Status of Women. Today's events provide 11 UVU students a unique opportunity to raise their voices in support of mountain women and girls. I sincerely wish them and all of you success in pursuing this noble goal. Thank you, sir, so very much, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Dr. Butler, for that statement and kind words. I would like now to invite our next speaker to the podium, Mr. Clark Merkley, who is the Assistant District Governor of Rotary International District 5420. Mr. Merkley.
Thanks, Dallas, and I'm honored today to speak about the cooperation between Rotary International, our local Rotary Club of Orem, Utah, and the Rotaract Club at Utah Valley University. Rotary International is a global network of 1.2 million members who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Solving real problems takes real commitment and vision. And this is all under the motto of Rotary International, service above self. For more than 115 years, Rotary's People of Action have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Over 35,000 clubs' mission is to provide service to others and work together to promote peace, fight disease, provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene, save mothers and children, support education, grow local economies, and get involved in supporting local projects. And you'll notice that many of these Rotary objectives match the Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations. Utah Rotary is a community of nearly 1,600 service-minded professionals and local leaders in over 40 clubs all over the state. One of these clubs is a local Rotary Club of Orem. We are fortunate to have Utah Valley University in our city. UVU has an active Rotaract club that consists of women and men who are students at the university and an advisor who is both on the faculty at UVU and a member of the Orem Club. UVU, as a teaching institution through an engaged learning model, encourages students to participate in internships, community service, and curriculum that includes the how along with the what and why. What a perfect fit for students to be engaged in service in the communities where they live and work, and to cooperate with other people of service in those communities and in the countries where they live and in nations beyond. We have created a partnership now between the Orem Rotary and Rotaract, which allows the Rotaract Club, the UVU Office of Global Engagement, and the Utah International Mountain Forum to provide monthly, regular local service where it is most needed. Some of our most recent projects we have worked on include providing warm winter coats for local children in need, selling oranges to raise money to support local charities, and also to support international students at UVU who were particularly hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and many others. This next month, we will be working with the students, including Rotaractors, on some community beautification and cleanup activities to celebrate Earth Day. And this event is just another example of our partnership. Recently, one of the great privileges was to work cooperatively with UVU, the Office of Global Engagement, and others to host and participate in the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference in Salt Lake City in August of 2019. Rotarians and Rotaractors had a significant presence in the exhibit hall, where an iron lung was on display that drew in crowds to learn more about Rotary. Rotarians, Rotaractors, and interactors of the high school students presented several workshops, including one on how to make large or small projects successful and sustainable, how Rotary clubs from around the world get small and large things done through cooperation with other groups and individuals. And we were able to share examples of service projects that truly made an impact in those communities and around the world. We are pleased to participate in this session of the Commission on the Status of Women and advocate for empowering mountain women and girls through engaged learning by providing collaborative local, national, and international service opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall-Clee. Definitely a very important, prominent organization and alliance. Our first student speaker is Samuel L. Zinga, president of the Utah International Mountain Forum. He's graduating from UVU this semester as a dual major in political science and national security studies. Sam?
Awesome. Thank you, Dallas. Can you guys hear me okay? I've got a couple different things recording, so I want to make sure that you can hear me. We're good? Awesome.
Yes, we got you.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Dallas, for that very generous introduction. As Dallas said, my name is Samuel L. Zinga. I'm the president of UIMF. Not for much longer, as I'll be graduating this May. And this is my last big activity as the president of the Utah International Mountain Forum. As we've already mentioned, UIMF is a coalition of clubs at UVU, ranging from Rotaract to the Foreign Affairs Club to UNA USA. And I'm very happy that Dallas Karen, the vice president currently of UIMF, is able to replace me and lead this great team further. UIMF advocates for mountain women girls, and families who are among the poorest and most neglected at international levels. I was glad to implement through UIMF Student Engaged Learning, SEL, model. Student Engaged Learning encourages students to gain professional skills while addressing real-world issues on local and international levels, with faculty members serving as mentors. As our major contribution to this advocacy campaign, UIMF members utilized Student Engaged Learning to host the 4th International Women of the Mountains Conference in 2015 in Utah at UVU, if I remember correctly. Additionally, UIMF was highlighted by the UN Secretary General's report on sustainable mountain development and was the only student group worldwide to have achieved such a recognition, again highlighting the effectiveness of student engaged learning. As president of UIMF, my primary mission was to coordinate advocacy efforts within our coalition to support the broader message of SMD. Our constituent clubs include Rotaract, the Foreign Affairs Club, the National Security Society, the Sustainable Mountain Development Club, and others. Each of these clubs host events throughout the year, and I'm primarily responsible for letting other coalition constituent clubs know that these events are occurring. In addition to these events, I help interface with local community and NGOs leaders like the City of Orem and the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences to support our SMD advocacy efforts to support the broader SMD agenda, as well as the points regarding mountain women and girls in particular. Under my leadership, UIMF has advocated for mountain women, girls at the 62nd, 63rd, and 64th sessions on the Commission on the Status of Women, the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference in Salt Lake City, here in the United States, and countless on-campus events devoted solely to the cause of women and the mountains. We additionally have had the opportunity to host the permanent representatives of Uzbekistan, Russia, Austria, Tajikistan, and many others to the United Nations on our campus, where we arrange specialized meetings with them to discuss their country's agendas regarding the situation and challenges faced by women and families in mountain regions. While our coalition has achieved through Student Engaged Learning model many successes in the advocacy of the SMD agenda in the state of Utah and elsewhere, we are still not able for the mountain families to be featured in the final document of any Commission on the Status of Women. We are raising our voices for this cause again and inviting participants of the 65th session on the Commission on the Status of Women to support our efforts. I would like to share with you all a short video showing how Student Engaged Learning, how through Student Engaged Learning, 2 of my peers and I made an oral statement about mountain communities and targets during the high-level political forum on sustainable development, July 2018. So bear with me while I share screen. Let's see. This should be okay. Can you guys see my screen? Or I guess 1 second. Share. All right, is that visible for you guys?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We see it, Sam. Thanks.
Yes.
Russian Academy of Sciences can take 1 minute each. Start, sir. I will tell you finish with it. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thank the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences for allowing us to speak in support of mountain communities who are among the poorest and most neglected globally. Climate change and migration make their living conditions even worse. According to a recent study by the FAO and UN and the Mountain Partnership Secretariat, an estimated 39% of the mountain population in developing countries are vulnerable to food insecurity. From 2000 to 2012, there was a 30% increase in the number of mountain people vulnerable to food insecurity, with their population only increasing by 16%.
2 SDGs under the review of this forum contain 3 mountain targets, and it must address the challenges facing mountain communities. Target 6.6, by 2020, protect and restore water-related ecosystems, restoration and sustainable use of terrestrial and inland freshwater ecosystems and their services, in particular, mountains and drylands. Target 15.4, by 2030, ensure the conservation of mountain ecosystems, including their biodiversity, in order to enhance their capacity to provide benefits that are essential for sustainable development. Since 2007, Utah Valley University, with the support of the Mountain Partnership, involves students, including non-traditional ones, in the implementation of mountain targets. Members of the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at Utah Valley University, gain professional skills through an engaged learning model by addressing real-world problems of mountain communities with the faculty members serving them as a mentor.
Utah International Mountain Forum members have already advocated for the mountain women during the 62nd session of the Commission on the Status of Women. Students, jointly with their curious peers, reported about hosting the International Women of the Mountains Conference as implementation of the UN Resolution, International Year of the Mountains 2002. The 2016 UN Secretary General's Report on Sustainable Mountain Development featured recommendations provided by the Utah International Mountain Forum in the latest conference document about the role women play in implementation of 2 mountain targets. Through the model, students raised and contributed $250,000 to mountain targets adoption and implementation. The model demonstrates that students are able and must play an active role in the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It can be used by universities in rural and mountainous states worldwide to provide similar benefits to students and to transform mountain communities towards sustainable and resilient societies. We thank you very much for your attention.
I want to thank the 3 representatives of Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, speaking one time in English.
All right, that was the video. Thank you again, Dallas, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thank you very much, Sam. This is a great video. It's a great message. Our next speaker is Abdul Rahman Al-Ghanmi. Abdul is an international student from Saudi Arabia, majoring in political science.
Good morning, everyone. As Dallas introduced me, my name is Abdul Rahman Al-Ghanmi. I'm an international student at Utah Valley University, majoring in political science. It is my pleasure to be part of the Utah International Mountain Forum to fight for empowering women and girls who live in mountain areas. It is also my honor to speak today at this highest gender forum of the United Nations. Being a member of Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of student clubs at UVU, has assisted me to be engaged in the advocacy of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and mountain target in particular. My involvement with the coalition has exposed me to the activities of the United Nations and taught me important professional skills. Since the spring of 2019, I have been engaged in excess of 15 activities with my peers at UIMF in advocating for sustainable development of mountain communities. I have born and raised in the west of Saudi Arabia, in the Sarawat Mountain, which starts at the city of Al-Aqaba in the mountainous country of Jordan and end in Sana'a, Yemen. Even though I live in between the 2 holy cities of Mecca and Medina, we still do not have sufficient access to the most basic human need, such as adequate healthcare and quality education. This is a serious issue present not only where I live, but almost every mountain community is facing the same obstacles. Climate change today is another emerging challenge for those mountainous population as well. These modern difficulties only make their lives more difficult. Unfortunately, mountain families and people are frequently ignored and neglected on the national and international level, and my native country as well. I participated in the 63rd session of the Commission on the Status of Women in March 2019 already. Together with my peers that year, we advocated for the mountain women to be included in the final document of the CSW65. But our language was rejected by the Secretariat as based on geographic preference. At the same time, to our surprise, language about women from small island states was still kept in the final document. Therefore, those activities have helped me to be more persistent in pursuing this goal. In addition, it encouraged me to study the situation with mountain communities and families in my native country. I am adding my voice to that of my colleagues here to say that mountain communities, families, and women in particular have to be in the focus of the United Nations 2030 Agenda. Agenda for Sustainable Development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdul. Absolutely. Next, we will have Bayan Algami, who is also another student from Saudi Arabia. She is a real mountain woman here with us, and she is majoring in criminal justice at Utah Valley University. Bayan, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bayan Algami. I was born in a mountain community in Saudi Arabia. While I'm proud to be a mountain woman, at the same time, it was hard for me to grow up as a girl due to gender inequality. I came to the United States as an international student in March 2014. Today, I'm in my senior year at Utah Valley University, majoring in criminal justice. Through my journey at UVU, I was looking for ways that I could bring justice for women, especially in terms of gender equality, both in my country and elsewhere. I have been able to do so by being engaged with the activities of the Utah International Mountain Forum, a coalition of students at UVU. The UIMF advocates for mountain women, girls, and families who are among the poorest and most neglected on national and international level. We at UIMF do so through student-engaged learning (SEL) approach. When we work as a group while addressing real-world issues, and at the same time gaining professional skills and experiences, our teachers in this case help us to achieve those goals by being our mentors. As I went through, my peers and I jointly were able to learn how to advocate in particular for mountain women and girls. Being a member with UIMF has exposed me to a variety of activities and cases related to mountain communities, and I learned by comparing whether they treated their women and girls the same way I was treated. I contributed to several activities of the UIMF, in particular the 10th and 11th International Mountain Day IMD, which were held at UVU under the umbrella of Food and Agriculture Organizations of the United Nations. I was responsible during those events by preparing the event for broadcasting through Zoom. I have also introduced Anna Mahalik, Youth Engagement Manager for UNA USA, and read her bio during last year's IMD observation. Therefore, those events helped me to gain more skills and be exposed to other organizations. As a RURAC, I was glad to contribute to commemoration of World Polio Day at UVU in October of 2019. While we learned that polio still exists among mountain communities and families in Afghanistan and Pakistan, the event encouraged me to learn also whether polio had any impact in my country, Saudi Arabia. As the most recent activity, I contributed to the fundraising campaign of the RURAC by selling oranges. We RURAC raised more than $1,000, which would be used to buy coats for children from needy families in Utah County, and also for our participation at the session of Commission of the Status of Women. As part of my academic development, I'm studying now mountain communities in Iran. As part of my research, which will be published by the end of the semester, I compare the Iranian women and girls' health, especially those who live in mountain communities, to the way that I used to have in Saudi Arabia. A recent study was published by BMC Women's Health, which took place in Alborz province, Iran, concluded that high-risk behaviors are highly prevalent among Iranian women. This healthcare problem is present in almost mountain communities. In conclusion, as a mountain woman myself, I would like to raise my voice in support of many women and girls who live in mountain areas all around the world. They need help and support from all of us by not only being included in the UN documents, but also having involved in the process of decision making at important political forums like CSW. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bayan. We're really grateful to have you here. We're grateful for your involvement in the UIMF and to have just a real mountain woman here. We appreciate your perspective and efforts. The next presenter that I would like to introduce is Jana Anderson, who is studying political science here at UVU with an emphasis in peace and justice studies. She's the current president of the UVU Rotaract Club. Jana, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dallas. My appreciation to the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences as well as Utah Valley University for this opportunity to advocate for mountain women on this global platform. UIMF advocates for mountain women and girls and families who are among the poorest and most neglected on national and international levels. UIMF does so through a student-engaged learning model approach that encourages students to gain professional skills while addressing real-world issues on local and international levels with faculty serving as advising mentors. As our major contribution to this advocacy campaign, we utilized SEL to host the 4th International Women of the Mountain Conference in 2015 here in Utah. UIMF was also highlighted by the UN Secretary General's report on Sustainable Mountain Development, the only student group worldwide to have received such recognition. As part of our contributions to the activities of Utah International Mountain Forum, I focus on the promotion of the Sustainable Mountain Development Agenda at the United Nations within the state of Utah and North America. I research and implement the Rotary International model in Utah's mountainous region to support neglected female populations. Since 2020, I have served as president of UVU Rotaract, which is a student club of Rotary International, a non-governmental organization in consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. UVU Rotaract is also a member of the UIMF coalition. An important aspect of our efforts is that we are now working in close partnership with Orem Rotary Club, and on a monthly basis, Rotaractors together with Rotarians jointly working together to serve local communities and fulfill Rotary International goals. Our club hosted a Rotary International World Polio Day at Utah Valley University on October 21st, 2020. This event raised awareness among students and the local community about the ongoing work of eradicating polio, as well as additional pathways for civic engagement. During the fall semester of 2020, Rotaract, under my leadership, contributed to the efforts of UIMF members to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the United Nations by hosting a special event at UVU on March 2nd, 2020, as well as the 11th United Nations International Mountain Day observation at UVU on December 2nd, 2020. I led the efforts of Rotaractors in a service project for Coats for Kids in conjunction with Rotarians from Orange City. They helped raise funds for the provision of 153 new coats to children in 7 local elementary schools whose families do not have the financial means to provide them. Rotaract contributed to a service project to raise funds jointly with Orem Rotary by selling oranges in preparation for this event and in support of the Coats for Kids initiative. Through our combined efforts with Orem Rotary, over $5,000 were raised in a short time. These are instances of how non-traditional students were able to effectively utilize UVU's SEL model and positively contribute to UN agendas on a local level. As representatives of the mountainous state of Utah and its local communities, we are eager to continue our advocacy efforts to bring mountain communities and families to the focus of not only CSW, but also the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Jana. It's been great to have involvement with the UVU Rotaract. It's a great partnership, and we have definitely benefited from that. We are very glad to have the Rotaract and its members under the UIMF. Next, we will have Cody Conklin speak. He is a senior at Utah Valley University. He studies political science with an emphasis in global politics.
Hi, good morning. I appreciate this opportunity to speak here today at this highest gender forum of the United Nations thanks to the sponsorship of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences. RANS has partnered with our student coalition since 2016. The UIMF advocates for mountain women, girls, and families who are among the poorest and most neglected on national and international levels to be within the focus of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Mountain Development. UIMF does so through Student Engaged Learning, SEL, an approach that encourages students to gain professional skills while addressing real-world issues on local and international levels, with faculty serving as mentors. We, as undergraduate students at Utah Valley University, wish to raise these issues at this highest central forum. Growing up in Virginia, near the Appalachian Mountains, and living here in Utah, surrounded by Rocky Mountains, has enhanced my perspective of the importance of mountains. Because of the UIMF, I could contribute to SMD through this SEL program. And as a non-traditional student with a full-time career, I was encouraged even more by mentors and faculty to participate in the student-led initiative. I was glad as a UVU Rotaractor to raise funds both for local families and children and for participation at the CSW65. I was able to leverage contacts with my employer, Bamboo HR, to raise awareness of this event and the challenges that mountain women face. I received strong support primarily from women, which made it worthwhile. I thank them and Bamboo HR for supporting me in this SEL initiative. By participating in UVU events surrounding International Mountain Day and World Polio Day, I was able not only to understand, but also raise awareness among my peers at UVU, how these issues are also relevant for us all and internationally. One of the more important tasks that helped me be prepared professionally was through student research publications. My research contributions on SMD in Romania was published in the 2018 Youth in the Mountains Academic Journal at UVU. It made me interested in further developments in SMD in that country. Specifically, in 2018, Romania passed the Law of the Mountain, which acknowledges the disadvantages of these communities by targeting economic activities which protects the environment and preserves the culture. I was happy to find in the news that Romania now plans to make the Southern Carpathian Mountains the next Yellowstone. This would be a significant achievement for conservationists and sustainable mountain development. My current research focus is Austria, an advanced country in sustainable mountain development. I have found great examples of SMD through the development of non-winter tourist attractions, which have stimulated local economies in Austria. UVU and UIMF have hosted permanent representatives of Austria to the UN, Mr. Martin Sajic and Mr. Jan Kickert, so my research will complement this partnership and will add new ways we can work together on SMD. Now, while these environmental solutions in both of these countries are providing me more data and knowledge about SMD in those countries, my and our team's main concern is about mountain women and communities. They have to be in the focus of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, targets and goals. We still need to work on achieving this goal, and we hope that you all will support us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cody. We appreciate your statements here today. Next, we will hear from Liam Dowling. Liam Dowling is pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science here in UVU, concentrating in global politics and minoring in constitutional studies.
Thanks, Dallas. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Great. I'm honored to be here today during this event as part of the coalition of clubs at Utah Valley University during this highest gender-focused forum of the United Nations. Since 2011, UIMF has advocated sustainable development for mountain communities and families. Taking this opportunity, I would like to add my voice in support of mountain women. Mountain women are among the most impoverished and neglected on national and international levels and must be the focus of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Having spent my whole life exploring Utah's beautiful mountains, I have developed a deep respect for the ecological and cultural diversity mountains cultivate. Through the UIMF and its student-engaged learning model, I was able to expand my interest in this area by gaining professional skills working with my peers and university faculty to solve issues facing mountain communities in mountainous Utah, all while having faculty serving us as mentors. I was proud to join a group that, in 2015, through Student Engaged Learning, hosted the 4th International Women of Mountains Conference here in Utah, for which it was praised by the United Nations Secretary General's 2016 report on sustainable mountain development. Last year, I observed as my peers from UIMF commemorated World Polio Day and celebrated International Mountain Day for the 11th time. I saw how they used the Student Engaged Learning model to raise community awareness of the challenges facing women and children in mountain communities and bring international attention to UIMF and Utah's mountain development model. UIMF's Student Engaged Learning approach gives students at Utah Valley University real opportunities to do meaningful research, create robust networks, and develop practical advocacy skills to help attract attention about mountain communities and women's needs for sustainable development. In 2016, the Utah Valley University hosted a delegation of the Republic of Georgia, led by Permanent Representative of Georgia to the United Nations, Ambassador Ka Amadzi, to celebrate International Mountain Day. During the event themed Building Bridges, Exploring Georgian Art and Politics, Ambassador Amadzi unveiled a new exhibition of Georgian art at the Springville, Utah Museum of Art, which houses the largest collection of 20th century Russian and Soviet art in the western United States. The event highlighted the similarities between Utah and Georgia as mountain communities. Building a bridge between Utah and Georgia is significant to me, as I have spent the last 8 months studying the Caucasus Nation, its evolution from a Soviet satellite state into an independent and sovereign state, and the ongoing struggle to tackle challenges facing the communities and families in mountain regions of Georgia who are gripped by pervasive poverty and unemployment and facing emerging threats such as climate change. My research is now focused on comparing economic models in Georgia and in the state of Utah to identify areas for both parties to learn from one another and develop strategies that focus on sustainable development. I will carry the knowledge and experience I've gained through the UIMF with me into my career in the legal field. I will continue building bridges between mountain communities and fighting for the marginalized mountain women and girls in particular.
Thank you, Liam. We definitely appreciate that. I would now like to invite Jeff Hibbert, a political science student with a minor in Mandarin at UVU. He is also the vice president of the Foreign Affairs Club under the umbrella of the Utah International Mountain Forum.
All right, thank you for that. I would like to thank the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences as well as Utah Valley University, UVU, for giving me this opportunity to raise awareness about mountain women at this highest gender forum of the United Nations. The Utah International Mountain Forum, UIMF, advocates for mountain women, girls, and families who are among the poorest and most neglected on national and international levels. It is to be the focus of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. UIMF does so through a student-engaged learning SEL approach that encourages students to gain professional skills while addressing real-world issues on local and international levels, with faculty serving as mentors. As a major contribution to sustainable mountain development, SMD advocacy globally, UIMF hosted through SEL the 4th International Women of the Mountains Conference in 2015 in Utah. UIMF was highlighted by the UN Secretary General's report on SMD A74209 on the 29th of July 2016, the only student group worldwide to receive such recognition. Today's event was also accomplished through SEL by managing the logistics, agenda, and protocol ourselves. Additionally, I would like to thank Orem Rotary, who involved us in fundraising to cover some of the costs for our participation in CSW65. Through UIMF and SEL, I personally have been able to get involved and contribute in hosting activities advocating for SMD, like the 10th and 11th observations of the UN International Mountain Day at UVU in 2019 and 2020, as well as UVU's 2019 Diplomatic Conference. All of these help promote the state of Utah as one of the models of SMD and best states to do business. Currently, I'm conducting personal research regarding deforestation in Nepal, with a special focus on the effects on women and the vital role they play in sustainable development. Nepal, one of the world's most mountainous countries, has lost much of its forest cover over the last several decades. Nepali women's burdens have become heavier in many areas as a result. Tasks such as raising crops and rearing animals have become more difficult due to environmental changes. Studies are showing now how important Nepali women are to their communities and in mitigating the effects of climate change. Additionally, Nepali women have shared their concerns during Women of the Mountains conferences, which UVU hosted regularly since 2007. Conducting research and holding my position as the Vice President of the Foreign Affairs Club has allowed me to participate in events like this that help my professional development, prepare me for future endeavors like graduate school, and allow me to continue to advocate for mountain women and communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Jeff and I have worked a lot together, both in this and in previous events, so I definitely appreciate him, and as well as everybody else. I've worked a lot with other people here as well. Continuing forward, our final speaker today will be Sarah Michellis, who is a recent UVU political science graduate. She now works at the International Rescue Committee in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Thank you for your introduction, Dallas. As he mentioned, I am a recent political science graduate of Utah Valley University and current employee of the International Rescue Committee based in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with my peers representing our school. Through support from the Utah Valley University Office of Global Engagement, the Orem Rotary Club, and the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, we have the chance to further our agenda to advocate for mountain women around the world who are often among the most neglected. The lack of adequate sustainable development in mountainous areas globally has left these populations vulnerable, ignored, and forgotten. Within the communities, women and girls are often denied education, subjected to abuse and violence, and forced into livelihoods they did not choose. The instability of these areas of the world has created a cycle of maltreatment and repression that threatens the well-being of women and girls. By learning about the importance of empowering mountain women, I am better prepared to assist and advocate for refugee women who are trying to rebuild their lives here in Utah. As a UVU student, I had the opportunity to learn more about mountain communities and their needs during my post-Soviet nations study abroad program in Russia and Kyrgyzstan in 2019. On this study abroad, I had the chance not only to learn through immersive cultural experiences, but also to explore my academic interests, such as important initiatives taken by the United Nations to support mountain communities. Kyrgyzstan, like many other mountainous countries, faces vulnerabilities related to fragile mountain ecosystems and social isolation, making sustainable development a priority for the UN in Kyrgyzstan. A significant milestone for the country was the International Year of Mountains in 2002. Since this international year brought global attention to the importance of sustainable mountain development globally. Since 2007, Utah Valley University, jointly with the International University of Kyrgyzstan, regularly hosts International Women of the Mountains conferences. Using the SEL model, UVU also observes International Mountain Day annually, and I was among those students who hosted the event, met with experts in sustainable development, and presented our own research. UVU students have demonstrated the effectiveness of student-engaged learning to further our agenda of promoting sustainable mountain development and supporting mountain women through hosting events, publishing research papers, and participating in advocacy efforts. Our contribution to CSW65 is an effort to share results and recommendations of WOM conferences among the participants of this highest UN gender forum. Mountain women have to be in the focus of CSW and the 2030 UN Agenda for Sustainable Development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. That's really true. These mountain women and communities are just forgotten and neglected, and that's what we are here for, is to help raise awareness and help these communities. And you're doing that now in your professional work out in the real world, and you've been able to do that and learn through the student engaged learning model here at UVU, and so we really appreciate you joining us again, Sarah. And now what we would like to do is to provide you with an opportunity to look at the faces of the students that were here at the foundation of the UIMF and this incredible model of advocating for mountain women and communities through student engaged learning that we have here. So we have a video here that we will like to share with you, and we will have Sam play that again for us. So bear with us just one moment while Sam gets that prepared. Sam, the audio.
Can you not hear the audio?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Give me 1 second to see what's wrong.
Meanwhile, while Sam's looking at that, I would just like to take the opportunity to thank everybody, all of the presenters, for their wonderful statements and their contributions. They've been really dedicated to this cause and have put a lot of effort into today and into other activities generally. We really appreciate them. This has really been a great cause, and it's been great working with everybody. It's been a very great learning experience, and it's been wonderful working with the UIMF. There's a lot of people globally that need our help and our advocacy efforts, and there's a lot of good that is coming from this. And we are pushing forward to serve as an example to other mountain communities and student groups of how students can really be involved and make a difference. Youth involvement is really something that is critical nowadays, and it is very, very beneficial, and that is essentially something that we're trying to implement here, that we're implementing here. So it's been really a great honor to work with everybody and to be here at this high forum. Sam is...
Yeah, I think we are set. Give us this. Let's try it here.
Okay.
It's a very unique organization.
Very excited to be part of this organization. It really helped define my collegiate experience here at Utah Valley University. The International Mountain Forum, it's a coalition of clubs here in Utah Valley University, which mainly includes the Mountain Sustainable Development Club, the Foreign Affairs Club, and the Model UN Club, as well as other clubs that help us out in any kind of activity that we need.
The Utah International Mountain Forum is an organization which provides opportunities for individual students to interact at the international level.
Utah has a unique history that has given us, as students here, a unique opportunity to share the history of our state, the pioneers, and to kind of show what practices and what knowledge of sustainable mountain development that we learned historically, and help share those with other communities that are in similar climates and circumstances.
If you could settle down, we'll get to start.
I was able to participate and speak on behalf of the organization to the United Nations at the working group on sustainable development. So we can push forward indicators that promote mountain sustainability.
We really would like to call this forum and committee to consider maybe a middle development income countries plan.
To attend a conference in Erzurum, Turkey, which was an amazing opportunity to rub shoulders with leaders of many different nations who are all concerned about the same issues in sustainable mountain development.
Helped to represent the school in New York City and in San Francisco, working at the United Nations. I've done all sorts of things, not just for myself, but for the school. And this is an opportunity that's not limited to myself. There are other members of the UIMF that have had these opportunities as well.
Participating in the Women of the Mountains Conference was a great experience for me. It helped me to get a global perspective of mountain communities. Subsequent to my experience with the Women of the Mountains Conference, I was able to work for a nonprofit in Africa.
October in 2015, the Women in the Mountains will be holding their 4th annual conference.
We'll expect to see dignitaries, diplomats, scholars from around the world, representatives from the World Bank, from the United Nations, even from the U.S. State Department.
UIMF brings opportunity to put together the conference for the Women of the Mountain, which is just a great opportunity to get together with women and men, but mostly women from all over the world. And it's just a great way to promote the Women of the Mountain.
Specifically working on working with local communities and local entities to get them involved in these efforts to educate members of our communities.
Some of the things that I've been able to achieve in the UIMF has been to develop an essay contest for high school students. The topics are usually developed under the agenda of the United Nations. This is something really important as we can get the community engaged and we can raise awareness of the mountain and multiple topics through the community and the high school students.
The first project that I really worked on and continue to work on, though, was I host and update the Utah International Mountain Forum website. I've had the opportunity to host and organize the 2012 International Mountain Day celebration.
A project that we have been working on is International Mountain Day and the celebration that's associated with that. That's on December 5th at Utah Valley University, and we're just trying to get students from the different high schools involved and students within our university involved. December 5th, the focus is family farming, which is an important topic for our community in Utah that we can offer to other communities throughout the world and the United States, specifically mountainous regions that are similar to Utah that may be facing many of the same problems that Utah has faced or is facing.
Looking forward very much to this upcoming year in 2015 with the the fourth International Women of the Mountains Conference coming up. Very unique this year in that it will be primarily hosted and put together by students rather than staff and faculty. Very exciting part of this whole organization is the emphasis on student participation.
History education here at Utah Valley University, and those all go hand in hand because I am learning how to better help high school students to understand how important our surroundings are and how important the mountains are and how important history is, and so that they can be better leaders in the future.
Because of my experience organizing events and networking with some of the local and regional leaders, I'm currently a congressional staffer for one of our Utah congressmen, Congressman Chris Stewart. And I absolutely believe that the experience that I was able to gain professionally by being involved with the Utah International Mountain Forum helped prepare me for my staffing position.
It helped me to bolster my resume to apply for law school at the Vermont Law School. And I attribute a lot of my learning experience at Utah Valley University to what we were able to accomplish with the student body and our wonderful professors.
Thank you, Sam, for sharing that video. It's a really great video, and it really showcases our mission and what we do and how we have students directly involved and the benefits for both the students and the university, the international community, and of course these mountain peoples and women. So it's a great thing, the UIMF and the student engaged learning model here at UVU. We're now going to turn over to some question and answers. So we have some questions that we can ask people, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We will address them. So Mr. Merkley, could you please elaborate for us a little bit on the importance of youth involvement in such organizations and activities such as Rotary International?
Yeah, it's essential that youth, both women and men, get involved in making a difference in communities. So we see some of the greatest projects that are going on throughout the world that are led by college-age students. We've had some great service projects by high school students. And what we're able to do is to give those students not only an opportunity to lead, but also an opportunity to see impactful change in local communities. So it's definitely critical to get youth involved in making changes, because many of the problems that we've talked about today are generational concerns. And so great to have the rising generation be involved in those.
Absolutely. That's a very critical point that's being brought up a lot nowadays, is having youth involvement. It's something very important and very beneficial. So I appreciate your answer, Mr. Merkley. Thank you very much. The next question that I have is for Sam. Sam, you have been the president of the Utah International Mountain Forum for about 3 years now. You've had good experience, been to a lot of things, done a lot of good things, worked with a lot of good students and people. I would like to know what you would consider the greatest accomplishment of the UIMF during your period of involvement.
That's a hard question, Dallas. I I really don't know. Everything is unique and different, and each year is different too. I would say that personally, I would say going to the Commission on the Status of Women every year, having parallel events accepted, having the opportunity to share our events. I would also, I guess, toss in working and helping set up the United Nations Civil Society Conference that was hosted from August 26th to 28th in 2019. The Utah International Mountain Forum was one of the only student groups to have both a presentation and, like, they call it a workshop. We had both a workshop and a booth, an exhibit at the event, which was really cool. We were one of the only student groups to have a workshop. So that was really cool. Looking back, it's a lot of my fondest memories in college are from UIMF, taken multiple day trips to New York City to do presentations, and the insanity of being awake for 24 hours to go to New York, fly back the same day. I look back and think, that's what college is about. It's having those fun experiences, and so it's really enjoyable, and it's really heartening to be able to pass this on to other people, and to pass it on to you, Dallas, and Jeff and Jana and people like that. Being able to support you guys in that role as you guys become the leaders.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. There's a lot going on with the UIMF. We're doing a lot of things, and it's really cool. There's a lot of involvement. There's been a lot of things that I didn't think that I would be involved in that I've done through the UIMF. It's really great. So thank you, Sam, for that answer. I appreciate it. Jana, how has the involvement of Rotaract that you've seen as president, how has the involvement in community service been beneficial for the local peoples and yourself personally?
That's a great question, Dallas. I think not only does Rotaract contribute to relieving immediate needs of the struggling demographics in the community, but I think that action also sets a precedent that the needs of these neglected female populations will not be going unfulfilled, that we as a community will be supporting them. And I think for me personally, my involvement in Rotaract and seeing these powerful female leaders, I think the Utah Rotary District Governor Linda Sappington is a great example to me of someone who represents a voice for women in the community and inspires me and others to continue to advocate for these causes and to gain these skills and to serve in our communities.
It's definitely important. It's important not only to raise awareness, but to actually do something about it and to serve as an example, to be involved and to make a difference. So that's really great. I appreciate that, Jana. The next question I'm going to direct towards Abdul. Abdul, being from Saudi Arabia and having those experiences, what is something important that you can learn in your life from your studies here in Utah and with a focus on mountain communities?
Well, Dallas, Utah is a great example of sustainable mountain development. I think part of this success is engaging the community to work together to solve any obstacle they face. And as you mentioned in your statement, culture has played an important role in sustaining the state of Utah.
Definitely. The collaboration that we've had, the just working together, just this involvement again, it's just been very beneficial to the state of Utah, and that's something that we want to showcase to other mountain communities, definitely. We appreciate your response and having you with us here today again, Abdul. So thank you for that. The next question I'm going to direct at Dr. Ross Butler. Mr. Butler, Dr. Butler, you've mentioned before about so many activities which RANS has hosted and did together with UVU. So my question to you is, why are you working so closely with UVU and our students? What are the benefits of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, and how do you view the student-engaged learning model that we have here? What is the most beneficial part of student-engaged learning for the students and the communities?
Thank you, Dallas. The Russian Academy of Natural Sciences is headquartered in Moscow, Russia, and I was very honored after becoming a member of the Academy to be asked to represent the Academy as in its general consultative status at the United Nations ECOSOC. And it became apparent that that the Academy needed and welcomed greater involvement with young people. Many of the organizations such as the Academy in Russia are made up of an older generation, such as myself, and we look forward to working with the younger generation, and there's probably no greater example of cooperation among students that I've seen than what I've witnessed in the SEL, the Student Engaged Learning Model, which is a very unique model. I'm not aware of any comparable model anywhere in the world, frankly, where students such as yourself become quite actively involved in real-world problems with faculty members serving as mentors, and with great leaders such as Dr. Lago in the global engagement world there at the university, and Ambassador Abdrisayev, and working with, particularly with Rotary International, which has an enormous international presence and does so many on-the-ground good things. These are things which attracted me and the Academy to Utah Valley University, and we commend the university and its leaders, but more particularly the students who have led out and who have been very engaged in resolving and taking a look and studying some very serious issues, particularly those dealing with women and children and families in the mountainous communities, which are some of the most neglected and impoverished people in the world. So I thank Utah Valley University, I thank its leadership, and I thank the students, particularly Utah International Mountain Forum and its cooperation with Rotary International. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Butler. It's very unique, this how the SEL model at UVU and the UIMF allows us to be involved through its inclusive, it's absolutely fantastic implementation of inclusivity. It's a wonderful experience, and everything to be included beyond the theoretical, which is typical of most universities. So it's very great to be involved, and it's beneficial mutually. So we appreciate that response, Dr. Butler. The next question I will direct at Cody Conklin. Cody, having lived in several mountainous regions up in Virginia and the Appalachian Mountains, here in Rocky Mountains, What sets Utah apart as one of the promising examples of sustainable mountain development? What can we showcase to the rest of the world?
Thanks, Dallas, for the question. I think about that, and I think about my own personal experience having moved out here to start working professionally. And part of what I do for my job full time, and I'm grateful for UIMF for giving me the opportunity, despite my busy schedule, to participate in this forum. But part of my experience here is to work and consult with hundreds of thousands of business leaders and decision makers every day to find solutions to their problems. And what that has done is given me the opportunity to see what their goals are and what their visions are. Particularly in Utah, I've worked with hundreds of business leaders and people who live in and throughout this valley down the Wasatch Mountain Range. And a lot of them have their eyes set globally. What that tells me is that not only is today's employers in Utah seeking to expand their reach globally, but also that they want to be leaders in today's global community. And we can see that through the participants here, through the statements. And I think Utah has a lot to offer. And the more you dig deeper, the more you see just how deeply interested everyone is in this community on their impact globally and locally, especially this example of sustainable mountain development.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, UVU is designated as a place for you. We're definitely inclusive and engaging. We have an entire office dedicated to global engagement, which does a fantastic job, by the way. So Utah's been really good at being neighborly and reaching out and being involved. And so I appreciate that response, Cody. Most definitely. Jeff, could you briefly tell us more about the research that you're doing regarding Paul and in particular the status of women there?
Yes, I would be more than happy to. And thank you for that question. So, like I said earlier, my research has been focused mainly on the problem of deforestation in Nepal, but it also encompasses climate change, which Nepal and other mountainous communities are being affected at a more severe level by. And so this has increased challenges for mountain communities, especially women there, as many have to dedicate more time to collecting firewood and collecting water in some cases. This takes away from other activities like education, which are very important. Climate change and stuff like that has also led many men in Nepal and other mountainous communities to migrate out of the country to look for work. This has left Nepali women with more burdens as they're left with more responsibility and work back at home. But despite all these challenges that Nepali women are facing and others like them worldwide, I've been amazed by the importance that they play in their communities and how strong that they are. I've been able to research and see how mountain women know how to take care of their communities. They know how to ensure that the land stays productive and that their communities stay as places, productive places. So my research has been really insightful for me.
That's great, thank you. Mountain women definitely are very, very important and very, very essential in those communities. So I appreciate that, Jeff. Sarah, so you graduated recently and now you're out in the professional world, you're working. Could you explain to us how your experiences of being involved in the UIMF have helped you in your job at the International Rescue Committee?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at the IRC, we focus on refugee resettlement in Salt Lake County. And having worked with UIMF and taken the time to research mountain development and the issues facing mountain women around the world has been extremely beneficial because many of the families and individuals resettling in this area are from Afghanistan, other areas in the Middle East that are very mountainous, and they face issues related to lack of resources, social isolation, and lack of education. And having studied that has provided the context I need to best serve these clients and understand their needs, understand their starting point as far as learning how to re-engage with their community and take a more active role in education.
That's fantastic. Thank you. There are definitely a lot of refugees and a lot of things going on right now. I know personally, when I was in Colombia, I was on the border town of Cucuta. I was right there, right during the surge of all the Venezuelan migrants entering Colombia and passing through the far eastern reaches of the high Andes. I know that there's a lot of refugees and mountain people, mountain refugees that need our help too. So we appreciate your work and we appreciate you being with us again, Sarah. The next question I'm going to direct at Liam. So Liam, I was wondering if you could briefly tell us about the cause and solutions of poverty in Georgia and how we can learn from that and apply that to mountain communities generally.
Yeah, great question. So in my research, I've been focusing on the evolution of poverty in Georgia since its independence. And it's been struggling to mitigate its poverty since gaining independence. Poverty rates have remained pretty pervasively high, but I have in my research identified 6 possible areas for Georgia to focus on for eliminating poverty. The first being shifting its economy from a consumption-oriented one to a production-oriented one, raising public and private savings, reducing its dependency on foreign direct investment, and developing its social protection systems, as well as developing its small and medium enterprise sectors of its economy. And then the last one is to create regionally specific development scenarios for the marginalized rural and mountain regions. 87% of Georgia is covered in mountain areas. So really all of its focus should be on helping those marginalized communities as Georgia has liberalized its economic and political institutions. Its economy and poverty profile have shifted to reflect access to education and labor market. And so those rural mountainous communities suffer the greatest levels of poverty because they lack all of that access to education and they benefit less from economic growth. So developing region-specific land use options to increase agricultural output in those mountainous areas would greatly benefit mountain communities in Georgia, as well as developing infrastructure that increases access to education. Recent news does bode well, I guess. The European Investment Bank is financing the development of a new fiber optic network that is going to give internet access to over 1,000 remote rural villages across Georgia. So that will be huge for increasing access to education as well as the economic being able to participate in the economy through those rural communities.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's very important to understand and apply the individual needs of the communities. Ryan, I want to give you a chance to answer a quick question in about a minute that we have left. Ryan, what are some of the obstacles facing mountain women globally in achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 5 or gender equality?
One of the obstacles is the ignorance of the mountain women and girls are experienced on national and international level. Therefore, to achieve this goal, the international community must pay close attention to the mountain women and girls, include them on the Sustainable Development Goals.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We're out of time, but I would like to thank everybody for attending the event and supporting the efforts of our team to advocate for the cause of mountain women and girls through the student-engaged learning. Mountain women need to be in the focus of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and we could achieve this goal through our joint efforts only. We look forward to continuing to work with many of you during the session, as well as reporting about our progress at CSW66. Thank you very much, everybody.